Every man has different tastes when it comes to women. Some men like skinny women. Some men like them fat. Some men like large breasts. Others prefer small. In my case, I love dimples. If I meet a girl with dimples and she smiles at me, it just does something to me and it melts my heart. See, the key is when you have a proclivity towards something, you can allow that thing that you're fond of or that you like to influence your decision making. Here's an example. I had a friend who was an old retired military man, and he had moved to the Philippines to retire. So when he got there, he went from being a zero in the US to being a hero with the ladies in the Philippines. So in his case, money wasn't a problem. So when he got there and got exposed to those younger women, he went wild. Yahoo! He came there with the got to buy love mentality. So he had one girl up in Manila he was sending like $300 to a month, which is ridiculous. And then he was still messing around with a bunch of girls there in the area that we were in.
It's him.
So finally,
he's so
he hooked up
sexy.
with this
Yes,
19-year-old
sir.
girl.
I'd do anything for him.
That's
I'd
very
submit
common
to
there in the
him.
Philippines.
Control me.
He hooked up with a 19-year-old.
Please, sir.
And
Oh, sir.
I say maybe a few months later, after he was involved with her, she claimed that he got her pregnant. Let me rewind for a minute. In the Philippines, it's very common for an older man, 50, 60 on up, to get with a younger woman. You'll see it all the time. 50-year-old, 60-year-old might be with the 25-year-old or even a 20-year-old. Now, his uncontrolled desire for these younger women matched with unlimited access to these available younger women and his lack of responsibility put him in a position to where he had to support this girl and her family for the duration of the pregnancy. And I'm still not sure to this day if the baby was his. So my point today is this: just because you have a proclivity towards something doesn't mean you always have to act upon it. But if you act upon it, make sure you act responsibly, because you can easily go to the Philippines and have 5 girls a day if you want. But the question is, should you do that? After many years of living in the Philippines, I will say this. At first, it's exciting. But then after time, if you're not careful, you'll burn yourself out and it gets old. Also, it affects your finances because you have to spend money if you're going to date a lot of women. Something to think about.